Well, hello there. How are you doing today? This is Shane for Shane's Reviews, and I hope that you are having a great day today. Today we're going to be talking about The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, wrote by Douglas Adams. And I need to get some tape to hold this arm down. Jeez. Woo. This is a continuation, of course, of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Let's talk about the narrations real quick by Martin Freeman. And I'm not sure if I've actually read something from Martin Freeman before or listened to it from Martin Freeman, because the voice was very fresh and unique to me. I usually can find people's voices refreshing, nice, enduring, these sorts of attributes, but I found myself engaged in listening to what he had to say, which is a big thing for me to say. Just like Stephen Fry in the last video, you get the clap award. Oh no, I hope you don't actually. The way that he engaged those characters was really good. It was different from the way that Stephen Fry had done it, but these are two different people and we shouldn't really compare the way that they're going to do something like that. I liked it. I liked the way that he went about it. It was pretty cool. So with that being said, we have a couple of additions. Some of the stuff we glossed over because I didn't really want to get into a lot of the story on the first one. Spoiler alert for the first book. Here it comes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that Arthur Dent's planet was a computer. There it is. The Earth was a computer in the book, and it was tasked with something, and it had to figure out what the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And it came up with the answer, kind of. It was actually 5 minutes away from generating the answer whenever the Vogon fleet exploded it so they could put a bypass through Arthur's house. We're in a journey at this point. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing and why they're trying to get to it. It's because they need to know what 42 is. And in the first book, this big supercomputer that they built that knew and was prescient enough to know that it wasn't actually the best and biggest computer that was ever made, that it wasn't even remotely adequate to consider the processes and computations that this next computer that would come after it would become the answer to the life, the universe, and everything as being 42, because they only wanted to know what the ultimate answer to everything was. However, the next one was the Earth. It was contracted to be built by these beings from a different dimension that are mice. So that makes it fun. So in this book, it's kind of a backstory element about getting to what the actual question of the life, the universe, and everything is, but it's hinted to multiple times. So the story just kind of meanders through this book. It is fast-paced. It does have the same comic values. It does have the same hit points and rhythms and structuring. There's even a huge scene where the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy's offices have been moved to, and how all the hitchhikers that are there are at this nice, shiny, gleaming, huge complex, but they go there after being at these dirty spaceports, and the lead receptionist, which is a insect of sorts, is very upset because these hitchhikers come in with all this dirt on them from these dirty spaceports, and shouldn't they be hanging out in the spaceport instead of here? Why are they even here? Why would they come here? Because they should be out exploring. Go, you silly explorers, go. Dramatized, sure, but that's the feeling of it. And the candidness of the first book continues in this one. A lot of my experience with sequels is unless the book is going to be considered to be a serial book in the first place, of which case it's pulp. And those sorts of books are usually different in that because they're supposed to be a long-ranging story. And so the people that are writing them think ahead instead of it just being a one-off and then it's a success and then a sequel comes out. So there's a difference between those two. In this one, it is indeed fun. The story progresses. We have problems with the Heart of Gold. We have problems with Zaphoid. I can never say the first name. Zaphoid. Zaphoid. Beeblebrox. Now I got the Beeblebrox part. I can say that all day long. Also with Ford, Arthur, Trillian, Marvin, and the Heart of Gold. Zaphoid was trying to get his grandfather to help them out of a situation because they end up in a situation, but all this stuff is kind of focused on Beeblebrox in the beginning part of the book. That was kind of neat to see the story shift from Arthur over to him. But the story isn't actually focused on so much a character. The story is actually, in my opinion, the devices like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the book, the actual facility for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and just this one Vogon that got upset that the planet that he had destroyed was being rebuilt. It didn't set really well with him, so now he wants to destroy the people responsible for that and is going outside of his lane in a big way to try to make sure that these sorts of things are wrapped up. He wants to have that big done stamp on it regardless of the consequences. Yeah. And so we shift from Beeblebrook's to the heart of gold being delivered where it was supposed to go to, and the reason why he had erased everything from his own brain, even his own thought processes. And then we transfer ourselves to the actual restaurant at the end of the universe, where we meet the loudest death band singer. The band is described as the loudest inconceivable sound ever heard, to the point of which that if they set up in a solar system, yes, a solar system, whenever they perform, then you have to be really super far away to even be able to survive it. Their music has actually changed planets too. So there's a desert planet that after the fact, it turns into a luscious paradise because of the way that they change the internal rhythms of the sun. But anyway, like I said, these books are just filled with all kinds of very interesting types of details, from flopping and rooping types of mattresses to fish that go into your ears to teleportation systems that the companies get charged for like 5 to 8 times more than what they thought they were originally going to cost, because the person that wanted to put it in versus the foreman of the job having arguments between themselves about, you know, there's a perfectly functioning door right there that those people can walk through, and then assaulting each other and then putting the cost of the court stuff into, you see what I'm getting at? There's all kinds of fun stuff that's in there. We have much less of a focus on Arthur, but Arthur is there in the secondary book. Not necessarily a comic relief type of a character, but everything in this book is comic relief. So we'll just leave it at that. What are some of the things that this book has made me feel from the first one to the second one? Yes, I realize I didn't say this about the first one, but this book, it brought out a lot of joy. It brought out a lot of laughter, and especially inappropriate laughter, as I've been out on job sites and I'll be where I think I'm by myself and I laugh, and then somebody looks around the corner at me like, "You've lost your mind, haven't you?" And I'm like, yeah, I have. And then they slowly go back around the corner and disappear. Long of it all is joy, inappropriate laughter, and just a different perspective overall from the way that things have been over the last few months. It's been good to feel something that was comedic and made me feel good about things that were happening inside of the book anyhow. So there's that. The narration, like I said, was unique, and actually, I hate to say it, but I think I might prefer this over Stephen Fry's narrations whenever it comes to these characters, with the exception of the way that Martin Freeman portrays Beeblebrook's. He starts out reading him one way, and then it's very clear what religious faction he starts to move him into. Did anybody else pick up on this? If you've read it, let me know and tell me what your answer is. It's not that I have a problem with that particular religious faction. I do not whatsoever. And in fact, my family line is. But I don't like it whenever a character transfers or the way it's being portrayed changes, unless it's actually wrote in the literature that the character, and it's obvious that the character is changing. But you don't change your speech patterns, is what I'm getting at. So that was one thing that was a negative for it. Highly enjoyable book, very good read. I've read it physically, I've listened to it audibly with Audible. So if you haven't read the first one, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, make sure you grab that, and this, if you'd like to see more of that action from the first book, because it will not let you down, that's for sure. If you've made it this far, my goodness gracious, what are you still doing here? Thank you, it's much appreciated. Might I say, your eyes are twinkling. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. I'm not sure which one of these books over here YouTube is going to recommend to you, but I would go with that one. Yeah?